Alright, g'day guys, welcome back to my channel here. So look, I've not been putting out very much content lately. Bit of a mixture, to be honest. The weather down in Australia, especially over winter, was terrible, and into spring it's not really getting much better here now. We're just into November now, and we've had one or two nice days, but now we're back to rain again and clouds. So yeah, I haven't had a whole heap of opportunity to get outside. Probably also fair to say I've not been quite as motivated. You know, I guess once you've been doing this hobby for a few years, you get to a point where you have taken most of the common targets and quite a lot of the not so common targets as well. So yeah, I do still enjoy getting out there, but yeah, mixture of things where I've not really been getting out and taking as many images as I normally would. The reason I thought I'd make this video today though is I think what I found interesting over this last year or so is things like the second-hand market, and I feel like I've seen quite a change in how hard it is to get rid of second-hand gear, and also sometimes a mixture of how unreasonable some of the prices are that people are wanting for their second-hand gear. So I think I often find there's two things. There's either people who price their gear and somehow magically expect that they're going to get to, let's say, even 20% less than they sold that for. Do you know what I mean? Normally, like I think it used to be the case that if you had something good that people wanted, you could probably maybe get rid of something at maybe a 30% drop if it was in good condition and, you know, blah blah blah, and it's kind of a nice telescope or camera or whatever. But I feel like lately it's hard to get rid of things, man, even if you want, you know, even if you're just trying to get like sometimes 60% or half what you paid for it. Like I've had a couple of items on forums where I've just taken them off because you know, I may as well be giving them away practically. So yeah, just kind of an observation. I'm interested to know what you guys think in terms of how you see the market. You know, a lot of my personal gear that I use, I've got a GSO Newtonian that I got secondhand for a really decent price. I've got like an SV Boney 102 doublet, which I got secondhand. I got an Orion ED80 again secondhand, and I've got probably the one that I paid probably a reasonable amount for, my Celestron C925, which I probably paid, I can't remember now, maybe I paid 65%, you know, of retail for that when I bought it secondhand, but really good condition, you know, really fantastic condition, so that was well worth it. So I do try as much as I can, because there's so much good stuff out there secondhand. You know, I do try and buy largely secondhand gear. Maybe not so much with my cameras. I have bought the odd second-hand camera every now and again, but the two cameras I have now, I purchased brand new. One's a ZWO and one's a TubeTech. But I guess, you know, this video, the reason I was kind of putting it together more is that I was thinking to myself, wow, if you were getting into the hobby now, from what I see around, you can get yourself set up second-hand for like really, really cheap, affordable prices. But at the same time, I'm thinking, well, a lot of that gear sort of stays up there. You see people sort of put their gear up and sometimes they'll reduce it, you know, week by week, and still nobody bites. Sometimes they don't want to move at all on their sort of what they're expecting. There's definitely a cohort where I've found, I don't know if they're new to the hobby, but they seem to think that they deserve getting back 85% of what they paid for at retail. And I just don't think for most cases that's very, very realistic. So I'm not quite sure sometimes what those people hope to achieve really with their listings. But more broadly, I'm interested to know what you guys think. I mean, is it the fact that we've got so many smart telescopes now? Is it the fact that we've just got so much gear now on the market? Like if you look at telescopes now, it's probably easier than ever to buy directly from China if you wanted to. There's shops, you know, in the US and the UK that will ship internationally. I think it feels like there's a lot of brands of telescopes now. Probably the price of that top end gear now has come down quite a bit. You know, there's very affordable triplets now that you can get, which can be much cheaper than the high end triplets, which can be like kind of, you know, some cases like nearly double the price or triple. So it's an interesting market to be in, because I don't know it. I feel like it used to just be, wow, if you can get a good telescope and a good triplet, like, you were sorted. But now there's so much gear. There's so much of it manufactured. There's so much out there on the second-hand market. There's so much brand new stuff. Then there's like I said, there's the smart telescopes. You know, maybe people now don't want to be setting up a camera and a telescope in the software. They just want it all. We're definitely in an age where people love convenience, don't they? So maybe part of it as well is just that people kind of dip their toe into the hobby with something like a Sea Star or a Dwarf or whatever. You can hear it's raining now. This is how bad the weather is here. And then they get out of the hobby pretty quickly. So I don't know. It's an interesting time, and I just wonder if that's my anecdotal evidence, or just the way I feel with the second-hand market and gear in general. But I'd be interested to know what you guys think out there. If you're still buying gear, if times are tough, you know, financially for everybody. I mean, I know there's definitely a lot more uncertainty with certain markets in the world, which we probably all know. But obviously the ideal for me is to get out there and use my gear, which is why I've not been, you know, at least for the most part lately, I've not really been buying any new stuff. I'm just trying to get out there and use it when I can. Used my C925 recently on an image, and used my Newtonian a little bit the other week. But yeah, I'm blathering on, guys. But I just wondered. It's interesting when I've been in the hobby now for about 5 years, and I just feel like this last year or so I felt a shift in the way that, I don't know if it's how much gear there is. I don't know if it's how hard it is to get rid of stuff secondhand. I don't know if people are kind of, maybe the hobby had a peak over COVID, you know, when people were getting into it, and that's kind of waning now. But I'd be interested to know. It'd be interesting to know just how many new people are coming into the hobby, and of those new people, are they actually going for a full sort of setup with their separate camera, separate telescope, you know what I mean, separate software on the computer or whatever, or are they wanting an all-in-one sort of solution like a smart telescope? So yeah, interesting times. I think I'll leave it there, because otherwise I'm just going to keep rambling on. So I think I'll leave it there, and leave me any thoughts of what you guys have at the moment, or how you're feeling about maybe the hobby, or where you see gear at the moment. Okay, so yeah, thanks for watching. Catch you next time, and I hope you guys get some clear skies.